Hey, hello everyone. We are going to go to people who are going to be joining us and are just a few minutes late. Um, we are going to be talking about investing in your professional development today. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold. Turns out it wasn't the soup. For those of you who I told it was the soup, it was not the soup. I have a cold. So sorry my voice is terrible, but bear with me. We're going to get through it, and then if I have to like tap out or you can't hear me, we can just make Dylan present. So you let us know. So we're going to be talking about investing in your professional development today, and a little bit about our agenda. So we're just going to do that, and then we're going to do housekeeping. Easy peasy day. Pretty low key. Hopefully everyone is staying warm and we can like get through this. You'll learn some good information that's really like tangible and implementable, and then we can go on our merry way to doing our service. Before we start though, I do want to gauge a little bit some of the professional development that we, like our feelings around professional development. Sorry, medicine's got my brain a little foggy too. So if you all would answer this poll for us and let us know if you prioritize your professional development. Once we have some responses from you, I'm going to give it like 20 more seconds, then we will share those results. And then hopefully if you have answered already, if you would be willing to share in a second why you prioritize or why you don't, that would be really helpful for us too, so we can kind of get a gauge as we move forward with our presentation. Okay, perfect. So right now we have about 50% of people saying that they somewhat prioritize their professional development. We have 13% saying not at all, and we have 38% saying very much so. So would someone who has prioritized or not prioritized, will someone kind of explain their answer to us about what maybe made them choose that?
Raise your hand and we can unmute you.
Or you can type it in the chat, whatever works best for you.
Samantha is the first.
Is someone on the line? I can hear someone in the background.
Looks like we can't unmute. Oh, wait. Samantha, you're on now.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Hi, guys. So this is just something that's like really important, I think, for service in general. I put very much so, and I think that's made easier by like my site. Like it's a huge priority of my boss to do her own professional development. So everything that she goes to, I go to, and then on top of that, like I'm taking online courses. And this is really just to like make myself look more attractive to my host site in the hopes that I can continue on there, or it gives me something to show after this year because all the other things I'm doing. And I just prioritize it because it seems much sure where I'm at and see kind of aligns with where I want it. Okay, can I mute myself now? I don't know how to do it.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's really important to have a site supervisor who encourages you to either go along with them or to carve out that time for yourself.
One more voice, yes. So I'm going to unmute you now, Suzanne. You're on?
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. I just feel like with M&A, like being able to help out with professional development, and it's like a very early time in my career, being part of AmeriCorps gives me the freedom to invest in those, like, it seems kind of like random or not related to my site sometimes, all those different professional development opportunities. So whether that's like a networking event or being a part of some collaborative, I feel like this is a good time for me to explore all those different options and invest myself in multiple different places. And so just because, like I said, it's so early on in my career, I want to be able to figure out what exactly my interests are and meet lots of different people that work in the nonprofit area that I do. So, and I definitely see like at my site, the importance of investing in different parts of my community. And so I want to take advantage of that as well.
Thank you.
All right, and then we have Jennifer says, I prioritize PD when it's a conference I can present at or a certification opportunity. However, if it's some other conference attendance or training that I don't immediately see how it's going to impact my resume, I don't necessarily do it. That's not to say I never do. Anyway, the main reason I don't do more PD is simply time that's difficult to fit in, which is understandable.
Yep, definitely understandable. We are going to talk a little bit about how to get around that and how to set goals for your PD as well during this. So, next question. How many of you would say that you actively look for professional development opportunities in your area or field? So, like us sending them to your inbox does not count. How many of you all are looking for them yourselves? And then if you do, maybe you can share some of the places that you look. And I've got a list of people who have used PD, especially PD opportunities that we haven't sent to you. So we can kind of call on some people and see where they learned about some things too if no one wants to share. Okay. So, so we have 36% of people saying they do not look at all, or that they look very much so, which doesn't make grammatical sense, but those are the words that I use. And then we have 29% saying somewhat. So for those of you that that do look for professional development opportunities, where do you look? And maybe for someone who doesn't, why don't you look? Do you not know where to look? Or is it, again, a time thing?
You can either raise your hand or type it in and we'll read it out. Curtis says that he's been trying to find professional development opportunities around conflict mediation, but that's not part of my host site or VAD. Conflict mediation is that's pretty applicable.
I feel like
broadly.
Everyone should have that training. This is a great opportunity for us to talk too about like what professional development opportunities people are looking for and what they want. So I'm going to keep a tally on that too. But yeah, I definitely think that's a skill that you can use at your site, but it's a skill that you can use for your whole life. And your PD doesn't necessarily have to be used on something that's related to your VAD. This is an opportunity for you to grow personally and professionally. So as long as you can, in that request, justify why you want to do something, I personally don't care if it is like one-to-one correlated with the work that you're supposed to be doing in your assignment description.
So Maddie is looking ahead to stuff we're going to talk about. She says that she joins groups on Facebook and joins national associations, which are great places to find PD opportunities. Mara isn't sure where to look. And Jennifer, I said not at all because I obviously just don't go searching for it. However, I'm very lucky that I have my supervisor and also engage in other networks that are constantly sending those opportunities to my inbox.
That is so important. That'll be something we touch on too. Okay, next question. I have lots of questions for you. I learned how to use the poll thing, so you're welcome. So, do you carve out dedicated time for your professional development? So we talked a little bit about how time is an issue for a lot of people. Sometimes we can carve this out in a way that holds that space and dedicate it just like we would a meeting time. I would encourage people to do that. So, So 54% of you said somewhat. We have a very indecisive group here, it seems like. 30% said not at all, and 15%, I'm rounding, 15% said very much so. So something that I really appreciate is, and also don't appreciate at the same time, is when people block off time on their calendars and say, this is something that I'm going to be doing from like 2 to 4, and like don't schedule anything else for me on this. Jennifer, Dylan, and I, aside from this month, have been doing Code Academy every Thursday at 10 a.m. And so I have something on my calendar that says, I am trying to learn how to code for this hour. Please do not like schedule anything else in there. And that's really helpful for me in making sure that that's a priority and not left as an afterthought. Okay. So the next question is, like, we all get busy and, you know, budgets are tight. Is professional development usually the first thing that you cut from your budget or your schedule? I know with a lot of people, we consider it extra, right? We consider it like additional to the work that we're doing. But I'd really like to kind of shift mindsets and look more at professional development as fundamental for the work that we are doing. Okay, so we have 60% saying true, 40% saying false. Based on my personal experience, I would say that it's true.
Yeah, I would as well.
Yeah, I usually cut it first. I definitely see it as like an extracurricular or something to fill the time when there's a lull. But that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on making sure that we don't see it that way, and then also broaden a little bit about what professional development could mean so that we can find ways to fit it in more regularly.
Okay, so Jennifer says, she says true, but there's one caveat. I do make a strong priority if it's a presentation opportunity, both proposal writing and the presentation prep. So yeah, presenting is a huge, huge, huge opportunity to both like elevate your own person and also like get those like public speaking presentation skills that are super valuable and can be kind of difficult to attain otherwise.
Jennifer is going to be speaking at a conference in March or April, presenting both like for March. Thanks. March is going to be a busy month for you, Jennifer. Presenting for Washtenaw Literacy and for the work that she does, because her work is so, like her education and her work is so related to the work of Washtenaw Literacy. So she's going to go present 2 sessions at a conference in Atlanta. So if you need help getting connected to presentations, I'm sure she has some pointers. And congratulations! It's super exciting.
I think Rachel is also presenting at the MCAN conference that a bunch of people are going to, so you might see her there.
Okay, last question, I promise. What is your biggest challenge in prioritizing your professional development? Is it finding time, finding funding, finding the actual opportunities, getting support from your supervisor, either with one of those things or just like in being away from the office, or is it something else? Okay, wonderful. So I'll let you pick more than one option, so this is not going to equal 100%. But we have about 50% of people saying time, funding, and opportunities. So we'll talk today about finding opportunities. You all have a professional development bank, and most of you have money left in that bank. I think 2 people don't. So funding shouldn't be an issue. Please just touch base with us if you want to spend your money. Everyone started the year with $225. And then finding time, I can't give you more time, but I can help you find opportunities that are closer to you or that you can do virtually or that don't take up as much time as like a conference. Conferences are a great PD opportunity, but they are not the only PD opportunity.
Does someone who entered other want to quickly write down what the other reason is?
I'm pretty sure it's anonymous, so we can't see you,
Yeah, we can't see who voted it.
but that's okay.
School.
School,
Yep.
that's a big one. Consider school a PD
school.
opportunity. You spend so much of your life doing PD. Okay, so we're gonna get into this. So why are we talking about professional development banks or professional development? Well, we already talked about professional development banks. Everyone has them. Everyone has time to use them. So whether you started in December or you started in August, you have months to. Hold on. Huh.
Can you all see? I think the screen might have stopped sharing after that last. Oh, we're
Okay.
back.
We're back. Like I was saying, everyone has time to use whatever is left of the professional development bank. This can help you, as Suzanne and Samantha both mentioned. This can help you prepare for your life after service. So it's a great way to add a skill to your resume. Or it can be a way to like broaden your resume. So if you're doing something at your site that is wonderful and great and impactful, but it might not be on the trajectory that you want to go on, it can help bring in some more relevancy to your year of service, so that when you do go to grad school or you do apply for jobs in that other field, you can say, I may not have been doing this work, but I've been keeping this as a priority, this field is a priority, and this is a way that I have brought in some of that work into my year of service. And you can directly tie them into your future goals. They can also help provide a focus area during lulls. So, you know, sometimes if we're in the office and we don't have a lot going on, just getting out of the office is really helpful, and it gives us a new perspective and a new like pair of eyes to look at the work that we're doing inside the office with too. So, and then building habits. So throughout your life, you should as you want to grow your career. But you're never going to be in a position like you are now, where you're given $225 to spend however you want to, for the most part. And we're really like encouraging you to take the time to develop your personal and professional self. So this is a unique position that you're in, and we really hope that you all take advantage of it. And then hopefully when you have those habits established during this year, because we're prioritizing it, when you go into your next job, which may be like busier, or if you go to grad school and you're like, okay, I have all these classes and I have to work, and there's this full learning opportunity, but I don't really have like the capacity for it. Because you already have those habits established, you'll be better able to take advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves. Cool. And please feel free to like chime in or talk whenever you want to. I'm happy to unmute you.
Yeah, if you just raise your hand, I can unmute you.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that I think can be really helpful in setting time and carving out space for your professional development is to set goals on how much time or money you want to spend. We've already set your money amount to $225, and make a goal then to use it this year. We already talked a little bit about marking time off your calendar and treating it like any other meeting, but you can set a goal for that too. Maybe your goal is in hours, maybe it's not in money, maybe you want to spend maybe you want to spend 10 hours a month doing professional development. And then if we do Code Academy, for example, for an hour once a week, that's 4 or 5 of those PD hours. So set goals for yourself that are SMART goals and that you can measure and that like make sense for the work that you're doing, the amount of work that you're doing at your Vista host site, and then try and stick to those. I found this like suggested like time breakdown, and it says that invest 70% in daily work, 20% on interaction with others and like relationship building, and 10% on concrete training. But I would broaden seminars and workshops to be any sort of professional development. Cool. Okay. About 25% of you said that getting support from your supervisor is one of the biggest barriers to using professional development. So some tips on how to get supervisor buy-in is to be able to articulate how this opportunity relates to your professional goals or to your VISTA assignment description. So Curtis says, you know, I want to work on conflict mediation, but it doesn't directly tie into my VAD. But if Curtis can tie it into the relationships that he has with volunteers, or being able to mediate conflicts between volunteers or volunteers and a learner, and tie it into the work that he wants to do after VISTA, it might help get some support in carving out that time and space for those training opportunities. You also want to be able to address how the work that you miss will get completed. So we all have deadlines, and we talked about how time is a really big barrier. Be able to say, like, hey, you know, like, I'll plan on getting this, this, and this done before I go to this conference or before I go to this workshop, and that way your supervisor isn't worried about any, like, looming deadlines and whether or not you're able to whether or not you'll be able to make those deadlines. And then have a plan for disseminating or preserving information. So this kind of relates to making the opportunity relevant, but if you can make sure that the information that you are getting out of the professional development opportunities, whether it's like an online course and you can print the materials, or it's going to a conference and you can put your notes in a Google Drive or your legacy binder, making sure that that work really does impact the organization or the cohort or whoever else may not be able to take advantage of those opportunities. And then that helps with, like, the sustainability and the capacity building, because those won't be things necessarily that other people at your organization need to invest their time into. They can work on other professional development opportunities or work on figuring out how to implement what it is that you did come back with. Wonderful. Okay, so Maddie already kind of foreshadowed this. Maybe I should have just made her do the presentation because she's a rock star. One thing that I really like in finding professional development opportunities, and this is a way that I find some of the professional development opportunities that I pass along to you all, is Facebook. I don't have Facebook for any social reason. It is really just this program and trying to find things that I want to go to. But it's really great because you can search by location, category, or date. So if I'm looking up for the weekly update, and I'm like, I'll be like creating one for this week, and it won't go out until next week, and I need to make sure that there is time for you all to register for those events. I can search for a week spread in 2 weeks, and everything would come up for, like, Lansing, and it will be networking. So that's really helpful for us in finding those opportunities for you all. I also follow organizations, so I follow all of our host sites, but also past host sites and other relevant nonprofit organizations, because a lot of times they'll post their events or their trainings on Facebook too. And then lastly, I am a part of 2 Facebook groups. So there's a student affairs professionals for college student affairs professionals, which I am no longer, but I'm still in this group. And when I was at Delta College, it was really helpful. And sometimes I still find things there for college access and success vistas. And then nonprofit happy hour. There's also, that's like nonprofit professionals in general, and that is some of the blogs that we send you from Nonprofit AF. And there's also a Women in Connection group that I was connected with through a VISTA in our cohort last year, and I think Trish was a part of that group too. And that's like a women's networking group. Okay. And then you can do the same thing with other platforms. So definitely, like, strategically use Facebook that way. Other ways to find professional development opportunities is to join a professional group or search their web pages. You can use your professional development on membership. So you can join any of these organizations if they have a membership fee with your professional development allotment. And Suzanne has done that. She joined the Young Nonprofit Network in Grand Rapids with part of her professional development bank. So you have some groups that are based on experience or education. So the MSU Alumni Association, I'm sure like your college has an alumni association, or there are these regional collaboration committees for AmeriCorps that Marcia Hazen, who works for the Michigan Community Service Commission, is starting to put together to do more like networking events across AmeriCorps groups. You can definitely join one of those. There are some professional groups based on your field, so the Public Relations Society of America, the Young Nonprofit Professionals Network that Suzanne joined, and some are more like identity-based. So this one on the bottom, the Suits in the City, is an LGBT networking group in Lansing. And most of these pages have like events, and a lot of them have like job boards and other resources like that. So it can be a really great way to network, a really great way to find professional development events, and a really great way to connect yourself with job opportunities moving forward. Cool. Does anyone have any questions or want to say anything?
Does anyone want to share like a particularly cool way they found a PD opportunity?
And then, so some of these too can lend themselves to different opportunities. So the Young Nonprofit Professionals Network in Grand Rapids is recruiting for board members right now. And so I know Suzanne got an email that was like, if you're interested, join that. So now, because she joined this membership organization, she not only has access to these professional development opportunities and this network of people, she also has the opportunity potentially to join a board and have more of a leadership role. So good thing to keep in mind. Additionally, you can sign up for newsletters from organizations in your field. So this picture is from the MCAN, the Michigan College Access Network newsletter. They have a whole professional development section. A lot of newsletters will have events or like upcoming opportunities. They have a professional development section, so it might be named something different, but they're all going to be resources for you, whether they're articles or events that can help you build your knowledge base or connect you to other people.
So June said that she found some interesting trainings offered by the Flint and Genesee Chamber of Commerce, and they're very low cost, which is great. And Jennifer, my supervisor asked me to join the Links community. It's free, and they have tons of forum bases based on your interests, mostly related to education. They also occasionally do free webinar workshops. So yeah, there's lots of interesting ways to get those PD opportunities.
We will talk about this too, but definitely tap into your supervisors and your network. They've been doing the work that you're doing right now a lot longer than you have, and I'm sure they know like go-to spots for resources. Maggie sends us, when we start our VISTA term, she sends us a bunch of newsletters and is like, subscribe to this, and subscribe to this, and subscribe to this. So if you haven't done that yet, if you haven't talked to your supervisor about that yet, definitely tap into those resources. Okay, online courses. So there are a ton of different platforms that offer free courses that you can audit or courses that you can pay for. So like Coursera, Allison, Acumen, they all have a range of different skills that they can teach you. There are a bunch of other ones too. So if I didn't name one, it's not because they don't exist. So you can usually audit them for free, but courses, depending on how long they are usually between like $50 and $200. You could use your professional development bank for one of those if they are like at your own pace. So like this one that I have shown, I did a free trial with Coursera, and it was an at your own pace, so everything was open already, and I had a week free, and then I got this Fundamentals of Graphic Design certificate because I was technically a pro member because I got the free pro trial. Otherwise, it would have cost me like $50, but the certificate was still available.
So Jennifer has a question. For anyone interested in publishing, are there resources out there for finding trustworthy publications that are more likely to take previously unpublished and or young professionals? Off the top of my head, I don't know about any. Do you know about any, Zakia?
So when I was a master's student, we had a lot of people who were trying to publish things, like go get their PhD. If that's kind of what you're talking about, I would like look at those journals and those magazines that you want to get into, and like send a proposal or send something into them. That's how a lot of my friends did it. I don't know anything in particular that is focused on young professional or people who are unpublished, but I think it's really going to depend on your field, and maybe that's something where if you are going to school, you can ask your professors more about that, or you can ask your supervisors who are, again, more in that field.
Trish brings up that small business development centers have free training for businesses and entrepreneurs, so they're another great source of getting that professional development and those networking opportunities in. And Maddie suggests to look into your field association, and they will publish articles in their journals. Maddie is published in a NACSW journal. I don't know what that acronym is.
I don't know what the C is. That's a social work, National Association of
Collegiate.
Good job, Maddie. I published a poem when I was 6.
The National
It was
Association
a terrible
of Christians
poem.
in Social Work is what it is.
Very cool. Okay, other things. These things are like less time consuming in my opinion. So finding resource hubs. I use Pocket. It's a free platform that lets you share articles. You can tag them and sort them. You can send them to friends. It kind of brings everything from the internet onto one site. So you can get like New York Times articles, or you can get Washington Post. Everything is on there, and you can search by different fields. It'll pop up. You have like a kind of a news feed based on things that you have claimed that you're interested in learning more about. That's really helpful. I find a lot of resources that way for the weekly update as well, rather than having to go to 19 different newsletters or web pages. And then Wild Apricot, I'm giving away like a lot of my secrets for finding professional development opportunities. So Wild Apricot posts this blog every month, and they do free webinars, free nonprofit webinars that they found from different sites. So one might be from like Volunteer Matches Learning Center, one might be from like Classy, and they go through and they find a bunch of free webinars. They put them in a list based on date, and then you can see what you would want to look into and like what makes sense. But also, if you go and click on any of those sites, they have like paid webinars and paid trainings too. So you can start with them, see what they look like, and that can be a jumping point too for finding other resources and using your PD bank as well. Because I still want you to do that. Just because I'm giving you free resources doesn't mean that I don't want you to use your PD bank. Okay, and then we already talked about this, but using your network, because your network has already done the work that you're doing. Like your supervisor's already done it, they're probably better connected. Also, talk to people whose work or positions like you value, and figure out how they got where they are, or what they did to become or to like get into those positions. And then you can figure out, if you're not sure like what track you want to take in developing your professional self, see what other people did, and maybe they can give you some direction on what might be helpful or what skills you should develop. As a side note, mid-year evaluations will be coming up, and so you should start thinking about that and having a conversation with your supervisor during that time about what they think might make you more marketable or a better professional, like what skills they would like to see you develop if you want to continue this work, or knowing that you want to do work elsewhere, what they think would be valuable. So take that time too. Okay. And then to rethink some professional development, we talked a little bit about memberships and speaking opportunities. So Jennifer is speaking at her TESOL conference. Javier spoke with the Rotaract Club at MSU. You could also like expand professional development to be books or articles or podcasts and YouTube videos. You learning about something in your field is professional development. It does not have to be something super elaborate. So if you can't carve out a day during during your month to go to a conference or go to a workshop, you can spend like 10 minutes reading an article on best practices in your field. You can do like magazine subscriptions, leadership opportunities. So Javier led the January webinar. Susanna's helping us come up with a interview training. So if there's a leadership opportunity that you can take at your site or that you want to try and take with Vista, please feel free to reach out to us and use that as a professional development opportunity. You can ask your supervisor for a challenge to be taking more of a leadership opportunity at your site. And think too more broadly about like what you would need. So our request form asks if the amount that you've requested will cover everything for your professional development opportunity. Meredith and Marisa have used their PD bank on hotel stays, even to go to free training. So they went to the ACEs training, the Adverse Childhood Experiences training, and even though that was free, they got a hotel in Jackson, and then they split the cost of that with their PD. So you can use that, you can do mileage, you can do meals, whatever you would need to have covered in order to make that feasible. It does not have to be directly associated with the PD opportunity. So get creative. Okay. So we talked a little bit already about where people have found their professional development opportunities. What other types of professional development opportunities would you be interested in? What other, maybe like webinar topics would you be interested in? Or like where else do you find your professional development opportunities? For those of you who have done more than 1 year of Vista and have gone to maybe like the NCAN conference more than once, maybe you can share a little bit too about like how you get value out of attending the same event more than one time. For example, we have someone that comes to mid-year training every year, and he is the best. I've probably seen his presentation like 6 times at this point, and he is still my favorite presenter that we have all year. So I think last year I heard him speak 3 times, and other organizations started using him to run this training that we did. And I learned something new every time, even though he presents all of the same information. I don't know if there's like a shift in my thinking, or I'm asking better questions, or I'm like able to tune into different parts of the conversation better because I already have a foundation for the other stuff, but always entertaining.
So Trish recommends to choose different breakaways every time you go to a conference, which is a great idea, and to take great notes and really listen and absorb all the information. So yeah, people can use conferences as a chance to just like kind of not do anything for a day, but if you do that, you're not getting anything out of the conference. So like having those notes, try to take home some like ideas or concrete things that you want to do with the information you learn at the conference. And also network at conferences. Try not to be the person who's just sitting in the back taking notes. Like talk with people, meet people, because that's going to be a huge, huge improvement to your professional network.
I went to a conference a couple weeks ago, and I always go to conferences where I'm like interested in the topics. So if it's like a new topic that I want to learn about, I get really excited and I go to that. And then this conference that I went to was all, I went to all the sessions that were skill-based, so it was like strategic planning and digital fundraising and all of these like not sexy but tangible skills. And it might be the most exhausted I've ever been after a conference because there were so many things that I was thinking about in terms of application, but it was the most useful connections I got in terms of networking, the most useful information I got in terms of the work that I wanted to do. So I would encourage you, like Trish said, to choose different breakaways, but choose breakaways that like maybe you're not interested in, but would be the most impactful or potentially the most impactful, because those relationships that you build in there and the information that you get in there will be way more useful than something that you might go to just because you're like going on a whim. Okay. So most of you have not, that's not true. A lot of you have used some of your professional development money, but like I said earlier, most of you have a lot of money still to spend. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to use your professional development bank, because I feel like some people don't use their professional development bank because they don't want to go through like the process of it, but it's super easy. So you just fill out this PD Fund Use Request form, which I should work on shortening. It's in your binder. It's on our website. Shout out to Dylan and I for making our website beautiful, so please go check it out. Or you can email one of us and we will send it to you. It is one page and it's like 4 questions, and it's like, how much are you requesting? What are you going to use it on? And like, how is this going to impact you? That's basically like all you have to answer. And for most of your professional development work for the rest of your life, you will have to write some proposal or some justification for spending. And if you don't do that, it's not like some big test, I guess. It's just, if you don't care enough to fill out this form, will your employer in the future prioritize spending their resources on that opportunity for you if you don't even care enough about the opportunity to fill out the form? So it's kind of more of a best practice that you'll see in different workplaces throughout your life. So you just fill out this form, your supervisor says, yep, looks good, signs off on it. You email that form to Dylan or me, and then we have a form that we fill out, and then Maggie says, okay, we'll fund it, or no, we can't because of this, sorry, like this is not how our funds can get used. And then important, we register you for the conference, or we book a hotel, or we order a book that you want. We do all of that on our end.
And if you could include the links to do that in your request as well, that saves us having to email you back asking, hey, how do we actually register you for this? So include as much information as possible in that form. And
Jennifer, I don't know if you want to share about your experience last time that she tried to use her PD bank. It was a very difficult form to fill out, but we will work with you however we can to make sure that it gets done, and that everything is met, and that if you have to pick sessions, we'll work with you on that. If there's dietary restrictions and things like that, we'll do all of it. We'll do all of it. So please don't let filling out one form be a barrier.
Okay. We will unmute you. You are now unmuted, Jennifer.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've attended 2 conferences so far. One that was really simple for the registration process, and then the next one that I'll be attending is like a 6-page long process and asks all of these different preferences and sessions that you want to attend and everything. And Maggie was super great. I was just feeling embarrassed because you were like, send us the link so we don't have to do an email back and forth. And that's certainly not what I did. We had a lot of email back and forth, but Maggie was really great about it. I was able to to go through first and try to take screenshots for myself and then list any information that Maggie would need to know. I actually printed, like I made a PDF copy of each page of the registration with my information in it and then just emailed that to her so she knew exactly what I wanted, which seemed to be the easiest way. So, but it worked out.
Hey, usually it's not that bad. Usually it's just the one form. But there are a few words of caution. So like I said, we have to book you for all of that stuff. So if it is complicated, we're going to have to like have you screenshot it, or sometimes you can fill it out and like we can do an invoice. That takes a little bit of work too. I would not recommend that route, but we can figure out a way to get you there. But we cannot reimburse you for your PD expenses. So if you sign up for something and then you say, oh, I could have used my PD bank for that, like, nope, you can't, because we can't reimburse you. So obviously no prohibited content, which gets a little bit gray right now because like everything's political. So if there's advocacy in your keynote, for example, you might not be able to go. If you're not sure, then send us an email and we can check with Maggie, or we can check with the state office and make sure that there aren't any restrictions and that the event is okayed. And then with your PD fund, you use it or lose it. Obviously, you like can't cash out your PD bank at the end of the year, so you might as well use it. And if you need any help doing that or finding professional development opportunities in your area or in something you're interested in, please reach out to one of us and we can kind of connect you and do some research for you on this end. That's what we're here to do, is to support you in your year of service. So please do that. Okay. Any final thoughts before we go into housekeeping? Sorry you've had to listen to my voice for an hour. No. So everyone's going to email us what you want out of professional development, right? I want to see everyone who has not used any professional development. I want to see a request in my inbox or in Dylan's inbox this month. Ideally,
that is your challenge.
Yeah, that's your challenge. Okay. No. Well, then we'll move on to housekeeping. Quarterly progress reports are due Friday. If you haven't gotten the link, you did get the link. Check your spam folder. If you still can't find it, email Dylan or me. I don't know why I keep saying that. Email Dylan or me, and we can resend it to you through CVET. It should look like it's coming from me, but it goes to this like third party, so it gets sent to your spam folder.
Yeah, it was in my spam folder, so definitely check there if you haven't seen it.
And then make sure, every time quarterly progress reports get filled out, I end up getting an email that's like, oh, it timed out, and it didn't save my work. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to go over it with your supervisor, so I don't know how you did that if you didn't fill out the template. So make sure you fill out the template. Make sure you go over it with your supervisor. That's like a mandatory part of reporting. They give another perspective and can help you count things that you missed or rethink some of the stuff that you have said about community partners and who they are and how many people you helped. So make sure you go over those with your supervisors. When we get those, I know some of you already have them completed. When we get those, Dylan and I did it right.
Got it.
Dylan and I will be sending out how much left you have in your professional development bank. So keep an eye out for that too. And then also keep an eye out for your W-2s. So if they were sent out, I think last week. Weather's been a little all over the place here. If you don't have them by February 15th, which is a Friday, email us, let us know. We will work on our end to make sure that either gets sent out, or we can get you an electronic copy, whatever we need to do to get you your W-2. But give us until February 15th. If you don't have it until then, let us know. Perfect. We already talked about mid-year evaluations. They're coming up. We will send you more information on that, so like don't freak out about it now. And they're super low key. It's really just a point of like reflecting on how else we want to grow and giving some more direction to the second half of the year. So please don't worry about it. And then we have site visits and career fairs coming up. So Dylan and I might be out of the office a few days, a lot of days coming up. So please be patient with us if we don't get to respond to you really quickly. We will be in and out of the office. So I just want to give everyone a heads up on that as well. I think that's everything. I have all my monthly reports and my timesheets. We have all the timesheets. Good work, team. I think that's it. Does anyone have anything else they want to share or need to touch base with us about anything? We will be on the webinar for like another minute or so. Otherwise, please feel free to go about your business and get out a couple minutes early. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening to me talk for an hour. And thanks for sharing to everyone who shared.
Yeah.